Village of Armada regular council meeting will now come to order. We'll all stand for the pledge to the flag, please. The pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, call roll, please.
Stirrett?
Here.
Clark?
Here.
Audie?
Here.
Cooper? Here. Ballard?
Here.
Woollard?
Here.
Conan? Here. I knew you were here.
So that green card pull in.
Yeah, you knew it.
Next is the approval of the agenda. What is the council's wishes?
We need to add on as item D. And I filed it back in here already.
Public
To set a
hearing?
public hearing. We'll discuss that when we bring it up.
All right. Any other additions? If not,
Mr. President, I will move that the agenda be accepted as amended.
I'll second.
moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. At this time, there's no citizens in the audience, so there's no comments apparently. Put it mildly, right? All right, there's no presentations at this meeting tonight. And then the administrative reports.
We do not have an F&B report.
I didn't even think to contact them, they should have been turned in. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Usually they're turned in on Friday, we come back with them.
Okay, I'll follow up and let somebody know in the office tomorrow. I'm sorry, I was
You
working
want
on
to
something.
call them and write them a letter or something?
Want me to send an email?
Sure.
Is that-
Whatever you feel.
Yeah, I'll send an email that way.
Whatever you feel.
Okay. I apologize.
That's not your problem. Someone else didn't do their job. Okay, you have the treasurer's report. And is there any liaison reports?
I've just got a little quick thing. I don't know if you saw in the bills, underwater, we had a radio system repair for $955. I believe that happened on Good Friday. The radio went down. So Ed got a little bit of overtime on the holiday there because he had manually run some things until they got things repaired. That sends a signal back to the treatment plant to kick on pumps to tell different wells to go on and off to fill the water tower.
That's not hearing.
So anyway, things are up and running, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention, a little bit unexpected bill there.
Did you want to bring that up now, Joe, that we had a meeting under the liaison reports?
We added it down here.
Did you add it down?
Well, that's when we added the public hearing, so I mean, you
Yeah, I was talking about it in the public.
Do it, okay, fine.
I have a quick one too. Atos is the name of the dog, and he is here. He served his first shift with Officer Vicari last Saturday. So if you see him around, his name is Atos.
how do you spell it?
Atos, A-T-O-S.
A-T-O-S.
Boy, I had that
The
wrong.
dog came from the Czech Republic, so
Does the dog speak English?
nothing we would understand.
Or do we have to say drugs and check?
No, they have specific different words that no one else knows, but, yep, so if you see him around, he's a long-haired German Shepherd, very nice dog.
How old is he?
I don't remember.
Oh,
He's-
Under a year.
Yeah,
last shot.
well, I think he's 1 or 2,
Oh, is he?
yeah.
Oh.
How did he happen to get here?
He was at the training facility and where they matched officers up with dogs. He's from a training facility and then they bring the dogs in and whoever makes it, and then they send back the dogs that don't, so.
very good, thank you.
Mhm.
Next is the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. There's no old business tonight. In the new business is to sign this signer knowledge, yeah, for the contract, which is between MDOT and the Village of Armada for a Prospect T Street Bridge project.
Well,
Uh,
do you want me to talk, Lyle, or do you want to?
I can, you can, doesn't make any difference. Go ahead.
Yeah, lay it while you're,
Okay, well, this is the portion that we have to assign our signers on the contract for that. And for the T Street and Prospect Street bridges. So, with that being said, this has been reviewed by our engineer, Rowe Incorporated, and our attorney, Mr. Borski, and Mark and both are attached, and contract pertains to the Prospect Street and the T Street bridge and culvert. So,
I have a question.
yes,
Is this to authorize the project, or is this for MDOT submissions?
this is, you have to ask that. Michelle, can you answer that?
well,
Part 1 and 2. Oh, this is the standard agreement entered into between the Michigan Department of Transportation and the Village of Armada, and this is for the work to be done. And it spells out in here, if I remember what I read here about a week ago, the MDOT's responsibilities and our responsibilities. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to provide no parking signs on the approaches, by the approaches of the bridges and the culverts and things like that. So Jeff has reviewed it, and I read Jeff's comments in this.
So are they going to give us something different for completion submissions?
I would imagine they are.
Okay.
I would imagine that, Joe. I can't answer
Right.
that.
Yeah, they said that everybody that, at Rowe and Doug especially said, you know, it's very common, you know, it's the contract that goes out at the beginning of all of them. Just, but
All right, I'll follow up on that anyway, because that'll be
Okay.
something that
Will do.
will get billed back to me. All right.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Resolved to approve the local bridge federal contract number 15-5125 between the Michigan Department of Transportation and the Village of Armada, and to authorize the street administrator, president, or clerk to sign all documents in connection with this agreement.
Support.
moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is to assign a signer to accept the proposal from BS&A to convert operating systems. This is our treasurer's department.
This is for the tax program. We've been on the pervasive engine ever since we have had it installed here into the village. The BSNA is no longer supporting that system. The county has gone to .net, and almost every municipality that's with BSNA is all on the .net now. And that does allow that the tax roll can be accessed electronically. You can go online and get it, so where we haven't had that capability ever. And with it online like that, that frees up a lot of office time for realtors, closing departments, assessors, you know, anybody calling to want tax information. And we have to stop what we're doing in the middle of the day to take and handle those phone calls. It will put it all online and they can just access it.
is this is something that we'll have to add to our website, or is this just a
We'll have-
way that they can,
No, it'll be on to my knowledge, it will be on BSNA's website.
okay.
And you just go on to BSNA's, you select what town, what municipality, and it brings the taxes up.
Is that how the township is?
I do believe it is. I don't think it's on their individual website. I think it's on the BSNA website. I've had,
I understand there's a charge for that at the township, so I've had people say like $1 or something. And I didn't know if it was because it was on their website, or if it was BSNA
Well,
that
that could
does
be.
it, yeah,
That could be.
so,
I,
okay,
and I,
yeah,
and that I don't really know. But we don't really have a choice because they're no longer going to support
Right,
the pervasive,
right.
so we
Right.
won't be able to continue using it anyway. But I have had, like realtors and people calling, asking if we're on the BSNA website, can they get the amounts through
be
that?
nice one, because that's a lot of phone calls.
Lot of phone calls.
Yeah,
Certain times of year especially.
yep.
Joe, I have a couple questions down there. On page 4 of 9, it says training is available at $850 a day plus travel and will be quoted separately. Is that training for the staff here or?
It would be training for the staff here, but at this point, BSNA doesn't have, it's not their typical operation. It's only if you really don't get it and someone needs to come out, or you have no one that's familiar with the old program, and you're starting from scratch. So I don't anticipate having to have them come out to do it. The township didn't have them come out, so that kind of tells me that they didn't,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are
Right.
having
Well,
to.
I'm sure that maybe they could help us.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we could probably even get some assistance through there too.
Right. And then lastly, on page 6 of 9, it has an annual service fees upgrades, and it says $550 to be billed at your next renewal. Is that what because I know every
pay-
year
we
we
pay our
usually do,
premium.
is that what this is?
Yeah.
Is it the same
Now it's a
cost?
little bit more.
This is more?
Yeah, I think we paid $450, $467, something like that,
Okay,
for on the BSNA's annual support. Now this one's a little bit more.
okay.
Okay, so how much money are we talking about here, Joe? Getting this.
27.25, I think,
Okay,
27.55.
yeah, that's what I thought.
27.55. And that's what we budgeted, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
We know it's coming.
yeah, we know it's coming.
Mr. President, I'll move to, resolve to approve the proposal from BS&A Software to convert the village pervasive operating system to a .NET operating system and authorize the treasurer to sign on behalf of the village.
Should we put a cost in there or
No.
no? No. I mean, the contract says it, so, your proposal.
A second?
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
Just one, we mentioned our website. I mean, it seems like we should maybe, once this get all ironed out, that maybe we have something written in ours to say
That
that
says
you
how to
can
get
do
'em.
this,
Mhm.
to do that. Okay.
Yep,
All right.
okay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Kind of a little instruction.
We have, we
Yeah.
have a,
Because
people
how
may
would
go to-
anybody know to go to
Right.
BSNA to find something out for us? That's all.
Or maybe we can run a link or something to it.
Yeah. So,
the link, I know costs money,
Maybe
because
that's
we
the fee
talked
with
about it
contract.
at one point in time,
Yeah,
but, and I don't remember, but because we weren't there yet, so. I think BSNA charges that.
When I go on the internet, because I feel like I've looked this up before, because you can see all your permits you've pulled through BSNA, correct?
Mhm.
I feel like I must have did my home through the township, because they are the ones that assess our homes, right? So what would be the difference from what you're gonna do here and what I can do on the township's
The
website?
assessor's information is completely different than the tax roll information.
So this would
The
give me.
assessor's
tax
gonna give
roll.
you your bill,
Mm,
any permits pulled on it, lot sizes, basic information about the lot and the house itself, where the tax roll is gonna be just taxes.
So technically then a village resident might need to go, if they wanted to get all their information, would need to go to the village BSA website and the township BSA website? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
To get
because
If
everything
you wanted
work-
taxes and,
Yeah,
yeah.
They're not
township
gonna
wouldn't
link.
have ours,
They're
right?
They want to check their assessment, they
Now, there,
definitely
and
need
there
to
may be a way that it will link the township's taxes with our taxes because because of the, the summer, winter, school. There may be a way that between the township treasurer and me, we can go in and fill in the season, because even on the old one, you can pick the season right there on the site.
Hmm.
But I don't have any downloads for the winter, so I couldn't find that out going through mine. Where now that it'll all be online,
Maybe, yeah.
just clicking that season should be able to get you to where you can look up your winter tax, your summer tax, your school
Right.
tax, all in one site.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is a bank resolution to allow the treasurer to open an account for the Parks Commission.
Okay, this is going to be an actual bank account, and it's primarily for the donations and sponsorship monies that the park is collecting at this point. It keeps it visual for that department, It won't require any fees, it won't require any checks to be purchased or anything. If, when it comes time to make a payment on anything, I would simply transfer the money from the parks account to the general fund, write the check the same as we would have done if it was still just everything in the general fund. It just makes it easier and more visible for that department.
Sounds good.
I think it's a good idea.
Mr. President, I'll resolve to approve the attached resolution to allow the treasurer to open a checking account in the Village of Armada Parks Department.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Did
carried.
they need to put in the resolution to name the signers?
Well, your signers are clerk and president.
Should we put a president and
Want to
treasurer?
add that to the motion?
It's in the resolution.
It's in the resolution.
Okay, but it's not what was just read, so I just want to make sure that everybody was aware. that
Yeah,
that's-
because it approves the resolution.
Well, it says
Resolution
approves.
Allows
says
you
it.
to open
Yeah,
it,
attached
just allows you to open
resolution.
Attached
this
resolution, so that is
resolution.
attached, Joe.
It approves this resolution.
Right,
Sorry, what I
that
said.
is attached, that's good.
Okay,
Yeah. Now, we will address the public hearing that we have information on. Joe, you want to start that, please? Or you want me to take it?
Michael, Michelle, Marv, and I met with Gibbles last week and got some information, not as much information as we would have liked, but we did find out that the S2 is nearing completion in its time frame. So a closing document with it will require a public hearing that allows the village to proceed forward with the actual construction portion of this project. The public hearing will be in the same retrospect as one that requires a bond to be placed. So the public hearing will address the project, some time frame. I talked with Giffords today. They are preparing the packets that Michael has been asking for forever and ever and ever. So I'm hoping a miracle will happen and I'll get it tomorrow. So it would have been nice to have it today, actually. I did ask them to, instead of giving this 2-inch packet to everybody to try to read and comprehend what's in that whole project, it's taken Michael 3 years to digest all of this information. So I asked them to do an outline for us that spells out a summary of the project, where we started, where we are to date, basically what it's going to require to go forward, what we need to do that, what our options are on this project, what the costs will be in those options, and the relationship that we will continue to have with Giffords, DEQ, and the village, who's responsible for what. So he said, yeah, we can do a bullet point outline for you for that too. So I'm expecting that tomorrow as well. So that will give you more information to look at, to base any questions that you'll have for prior to the public hearing. If anyone feels, once you've read this information, that we should have a special meeting, please, let's do that. We are meeting with Karen Nichols from DEQ Wednesday after tomorrow, Wednesday morning, to help iron out some of the details of the bonding process with this. We didn't get sufficient answers from the engineers on how this process went, so Michael and I took it a step further and contacted DEQ, and we have a meeting set up with her on Wednesday morning to make sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and we know where we're going with this, because it will be a considerable amount of money. So, yes.
Is there any, are they gonna also research, grants for us? For this repair work?
No. DEQ is offering a low-interest 2.5% SRF loan bond. So when they're offering that, it certainly isn't going to be in their best interest to try and find you a grant
Yeah, they do.
to do it.
Yeah.
That was
So
through the S2, I think, right? That's the whole reason we did the S2 is because,
it's all
Yeah.
linked, it's all
Right.
part of the completion of the S2, which identified the areas that
Right.
needed to be completed.
right.
It needed repair, needed, what is their term?
Upgrade?
Compliance issues.
Have you
So-
seen any preliminary? I mean, is this a,
That's all the documents that are on the file cabinet. I don't think anybody's,
I did,
besides Joe, has looked at. But that was about, I would say around 3 months ago. We had my last meeting with them. And I was expecting at our last meeting last week to get an update on those things, and all the documents were not finished yet. So after talking with the DEQ today, and then Joe's follow-up with Giffords today, it's being sped up so that we can have the information prior to Wednesday's meeting with the DEQ who's driving in to talk to us. There's some other concerns that we have from our discussion. I didn't really like, from the day one, I was concerned about the time frame. I didn't want to be in a crunch come June 30th or July 1st when this is due, this project plan. And I was under the impression that the document would be submitted and that's all we had to do. I was not aware until last week about these other things that are tied to it. So that was my concern, and Joe's also when we talked to the DEQ today. And I think it might be a little bit better than what I thought. We just have to make sure that we're all on the same page.
So what do we have to have by July? We have to actually figure out what projects we're doing, when the time frame. Do we have to like nail down all the projects and construction side of things?
yes.
I believe so, but this is where
Okay.
some of the problems are.
Yeah.
One of the things that we were told that came up with the dollar amount, we were told today that this doesn't cover it at all. So we need to confirm that with DEQ and maybe take those items out, which then would decrease the dollar amount from what we discussed last week.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't want to leave you hanging on this, but I think we have to wait till after Wednesday to figure out what's really happening,
Right.
because she's ultimately, Karen Nichols from Lansing is ultimately the one that signs off on it, not Giffords.
Right.
So I'll keep some of my comments to myself until after Wednesday, but I think we'll know more after Wednesday's meeting when she comes here. But she felt it was very important for her to come to make sure that the Village of Armada was confident in going forward with it. And she felt it was strong enough that she canceled one of her other meetings and is driving in just for us. So I give her credit for doing that, because she could just say, no, you turn it in on July 1st. But she's actually trying to reach out and help us finish this
So we have to
so
have
that the
all,
village is comfortable.
so we have to have all the bids in and everything as to who's even doing the
No.
work and
No.
stuff?
No.
Okay, all
One thing
right.
that I learned under this, I thought we were gonna get details. Let's just pick an item such as the leaky valves that everybody knows about going in the basement and there being water. There's no water anymore, right? There's not water on the ground, it goes into a containment area now. But I was under the impression they would tell us, okay, we're gonna fix these and this is how we're gonna do it and it's gonna cost this much. No, all they do is say it costs $40,000 and it'll get fixed. I have concern with that because how do you know it's $40,000? You're not even telling me how you're gonna fix it. But this is just a general understanding. The details, when the engineers get in and write up how they're gonna do it, comes in a later area.
Okay.
Which that cost is covered under where you get the financing from the SRF.
So we have a longer time period then for that part.
And we're trying to figure that part out too.
Okay.
But the other thing though, as Dave mentioned, the grant, you submit a project plan, and the project plan says we will go and try to get financing for X amount of dollars. Let's just toss out $200,000. It's not that number, but just to understand. We can then go and pay cash for part of it. We can go get financing from Rural Development was the one I was trying to mention last week. They also offer sometimes 30, 40-year loans, depending on what kind of a project you're doing. I'm assuming you can probably also seek grants you can get financing elsewhere. And then you get, you send it to the DEQ, they sign off on it, and they say, that's acceptable for you to get financing for this part of it under the Rural Development Fund. You know, and then they just sign, there's a specific name for it, I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. But there's ways to get other financing, such as like the generator. I know the chief at one point, fire chief was gonna look at maybe getting some help from the county on that. So if that's in the project plan and we get a grant for doing that, then you would just inform the DEQ that we are gonna replace the generator with funds from the county. And that should be all that, you know, it might be a little paperwork, but it's acceptable to get financing elsewhere. It doesn't
The
mean that
only
you're locked
problem
in.
with it is the time frame right now. This, our application for funding has to be in by June 15th. So we're in time, we are in
June
time frame.
15th of this year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
July 1st, I thought. Oh, no, I'm
No.
sorry.
July 1st is the completed, or June
Oh.
30th
plan completion.
is the plan completion.
Completion.
Okay.
It's a 5-year plan that we paid the engineers to put together for us dearly.
If they're not doing it, we don't have to pay them,
It's,
right?
they did it, they put this plan together, we
Okay.
just gotta get it in our little paws is all. But, and have Michael review it to make sure that now they finally have completed the things that he's been asking repeatedly and repeatedly, that, you know, this doesn't balance, this doesn't match, this isn't correct, you've got too many pumps and you've got, you know, he's been asking them and asking them to make those corrections, and he just hasn't gotten anything on paper that says this is done and this is completed and we've made these changes, is, you know, is this accurate to your satisfaction? So all that's still got to be done and reviewed by the time we have to submit these final plans. But it's a 5-year plan. So one of the things that the engineers obviously are not financial people. They don't have a good grip on the SRF finance end of it at all, which is one of the things that prompted Michael and I, and we talked with Marv to, after the meeting, that we just weren't happy with the information that we got regarding the finances of it. So we did contact the DEQ, and that was part of the things that we cleared up. And there are a few more options, like Michael says, that are out there that the DEQ is going to work with us on, further than what was explained to us through the engineers. We can break this down into increments and spread it over the 5-year plan. In that 5-year plan, you can go for multiple SRF loans. So if you wanted to start out with a smaller loan, and put, you know, you need to prioritize. What's your most critical of the compliance issues? Address those first. Work on maybe the next set of them in a year or 2 years, and we can break it up that way. So those are kind of the things that we're going to talk to DEQ about on Wednesday. You know, how we have to go about this, what we have to do with the bond. I have already talked with the auditors. They appreciated the heads up that this is what the path that we're taking. I'll need to contact bond counsel, so that we're going to have a few more resolutions that we'll need to authorize a few things. And then they'll set up our amortization, set up the payment breakdown, rate structure, same as they did with the DWRF when we did that one.
So when this is over at the end of June, and we meet this milestone, at what point are we done with Giffords? Are we with them the entire
No,
5?
but we do not have to continue to have Giffords do the engineering.
Okay,
That was very clear, and I do believe I probably will find an email about that. I definitely will print that for everyone.
okay.
And you're talking about construction engineering.
Yeah, I'm
They've
talking
already
about
done the
construction.
Yes,
We've only
right.
did, what was approved 2 or 3 years ago was through this public hearing, and I believe once it's submitted, and I would also be cautious to not do final payment to Giffords until the DEQ accepts the project plan, because once you make that final
Right,
payment,
you're
you
done.
know it's hard to
Yeah,
get
Right,
the last 2 T's dotted, or whatever you want to say.
yes.
Then I believe we're done under this contract. If we do wish to continue to use them, that would be up to council at that time. But
We can enter into a different contract.
yeah, you would enter into a different
Okay,
contract. This-
I just wanted to know at what point are we
Yes.
done with the engineering firm, because I know you mentioned at one point, we're too far into it to change, but I wasn't sure at what
Right.
point we were done, so we can
Right.
change if we wanted to.
Once we get all the preliminary engineering done and it's gone through the DEQ, then.
So that's
we're
the
done.
June date.
That's
That
in
would,
June.
I mean, that would be, okay, June.
Yeah, and we even talked to Karen about that today because she didn't know that Giffords was doing this part of it, the project plan. She pulled up our contract that was approved for like 250 or 260, and yes, it was the last item
Okay.
on that sheet. So I guess I would have to go through that paragraph one more time just to make sure that that was it. But based upon what we've already paid them, we
Mhm.
paid them a portion of that last segment, not all of it,
Right.
but a portion of it. I believe that this is the final end of it.
Okay, perfect.
Because once you get into engineering, now you're going into designing,
Correct.
and then your costs.
That's what I want to make sure that it
Right.
is separate. Okay, perfect.
Michelle, we have plenty of time. I know you were talking about, I was at that meeting too. but
I'm sorry. You were asking what I said. I'm
I
sorry.
was so quiet.
You
But
were.
anyway,
Yes, you were.
there's plenty of time, our time frame, to get all the
Well,
paperwork.
That's why,
Do this.
yeah, I mean, we have to post the public hearing for 30 days, which is different than our other ones. So that's why we had to add this tonight, because the May meeting will be too late. So we had to get this done tonight. Yeah, we should have, I mean,
Well, because like I
Yeah.
mentioned, I wanted Jeff at this meeting, and if
Yes,
it had to be the
well, and
second
that's,
meeting,
we tried to move it to the second meeting for Jeff, to have Jeff switch meetings, but he can't. So,
Okay, as long as we can meet all the requirements,
Yes.
fine.
I agree.
well, and it's important that he be at that meeting, so.
Can I ask one, what is the meaning of receiving comments from interested persons?
That's-
Interested persons in what?
In the public
In the
hearing,
public
any
hearing.
public,
Any-
any
Oh,
public
citizen
comment.
comment.
I wasn't sure you were for construction,
No, no,
for,
no, no, no,
I
no.
wasn't sure what interested persons
No,
meant.
we even have to get a court reporter in here to take verbatim minutes for this.
Because of
So,
the bond.
because of the bond, we have to either get a stenographer or a court
If you
reporter.
remember, we did the same thing with the DWRF fund.
Really?
So-
We did.
I don't remember a corporate report.
Yeah.
Well, either that or they can, Jeff said today that they could actually take it from a recording, a stenographer can. I've never had to deal with that, so I called 42D to see that, how do I even do that? I don't even know how to get a hold of somebody to do that, so we're working on that, but we have time.
I mean, I would assume we would eat that cost, of
Yes.
whatever that is.
Yep, you'll do travel and time.
Okay.
And, depends on how much public comment you have, but they even have to keep the verbatim for everything. Everything that's said that night is verbatim. So,
Just during the public hearing?
just during the public hearing.
Okay.
Yep.
Nobody cussing over here. Okay.
I almost think we did it on the DDA bond too.
Really?
Yeah.
I just don't recall that.
Yeah. And it's a DEQ requirement, everything that, even the notice that has to go on the paper, that's all DEQ, so.
Mhm.
Just following the
Is
rules.
that their wording?
Yeah.
Mr. Interested
Well,
person?
yes, that's what it
That's
says.
I don't
It
understand
says
interested persons.
it says it right here, that's
Okay.
why I
Okay.
put it in,
Okay.
so.
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing date of June 8th, 2015 at 7 PM for the proposed sanitary sewer system improvements project and funding for the purpose of receiving comments from interested persons.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
Is that a regular meeting date?
Yes, yeah.
You don't wanna say 7:10 or 7?
We always do 7 o'clock just because it's always the first thing on the
So
agenda.
it's no problem.
Sometimes we fly through, so.
Okay.
And you can always start a public hearing late, you can't start it early, so.
Okay.
Any further? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And Michael, can I put in the meeting minutes that you'll attend that meeting, even if you're in the audience?
It's not the only baseball.
Okay.
Well, the way I found it the other day myself, probably Steve and Mike has been saying, it, I think right along too, that we've had so much problems with the Giffords itself. This is on camera, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hopefully
So
we've ironed through them.
yeah.
the thing is that we want this right, and the girls talked to Jeff too, and aware of everything that we had talked about the other day, with them too, so. And scheduling, the way I see it, has been a real problem, that they're not just putting forth the scheduling like, really do we want or need? It's a need, it's not a want. So what they was hired to do, you know, we just want it fulfilled, to be proper. Any other questions? Up and coming agenda items, or is there?
Did we vote on that?
I don't think so.
Did we?
I don't think so. I wrote it before you said
Oh,
it.
okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Motion and support, but I don't have to
Yeah.
carry.
Okay, motion support, and I asked for discussion, didn't I?
Yeah. Yep.
So I thought,
So
okay,
just-
so, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Can't hurt to do it twice.
No,
I thought I did it.
You might have.
You did.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause that's
We're
twice.
gonna watch the tape. Maybe they all lost me. We're all good.
Who's liar? I got two of them whispering the whole meeting. You guys gonna whisper to each
I
other?
haven't said a word.
Any up and coming agenda items that,
So I'd like to bring Teach Street, Prospect Street back on the agenda.
Teach Street and Prospect?
Prospect Street,
The bridge?
Bridge and Culvert.
Do you think, well, we were talking in the office the other day that maybe we should have Roe here for these?
That would be a darn good idea.
Okay, I think they should. We've got a lot of projects going on.
Well,
and
actually, Teach, yeah.
For Main
Rose-
Street,
Rose on that.
Just to give updates on that and the East
And
Main,
maybe
like,
HRC for East Main.
I thought Roe was,
no.
No.
they're doing
HRC.
construction too?
Yes, they're doing both.
HRC
Yeah.
has
Okay,
to be here for
all right.
East Main, so
Okay,
need some updates on those.
and, all right, so then I'll put East Main. I'll see if I can get, well, we were just talking, because, you know, before
Yeah.
Sue was at every meeting, and, you know, I mean, the
I know.
minutes from them are like that, but
Mhm.
she was so thorough on updating everybody.
Yeah, so we wanna do this.
Even with the East Main, I know there's one resident who, I was told is not having a graduation party because they weren't sure when the construction was going to specifically, because it was kind of unknown. You know, keeping them updated on when.
That's what we
Because
want.
things change, and we all know
Yeah.
things change, and they're doing a great job on the gas and
Because I
and all
believe
that,
that,
but, you
Well,
know,
that's too bad.
if it's going forward or back, you know, it might be nice to communicate that.
we're supposed to have something on East Main and Prospect Street as far as a construction scheduling coming with the next meeting. That's what I was told.
Well,
months
I'll
ago.
give them both a call and ask them
Please.
if they can
Yep.
attend.
And when
Sounds
we get that, I can keep them posted on Channel 6.
There you
so
go,
can
and we can
always
also
see
get
if
some
there's any
letters
changes.
out to the people of when these things are gonna start, because, you know, we'll have to wake up one morning and have jackhammers going in their, you know, in their ear.
No, people like me, I gotta get my camper out of there before
Yeah.
I tear up the road. It can't leapfrog too
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I talked with Ed today too. Ed was telling me about, we're touching on, you know, Teats and Prospect Streets action. That the gas company wanted to go ahead and put in new gas lines in Teats and Simon Street and that kind of stuff. And he says, I see nothing on the plan, so you're not doing it.
Perfect.
He says, unless we have some plans, you know, you're not doing nothing right now.
That's what to do.
So I thought that was good of Ed on that part, you know, so.
Well, there's been a lot of additions in that project that he wasn't
Yes, there has.
expecting, so,
Right.
yeah.
And so the thing is that I also touched with him on this hearing, or this meeting, I should say, for Wednesday, to ask him to be there. And he's gonna be in the field anyhow, checking on this, you know, stuff when they start this project too, so. He said he's more than happy to attend our meetings
Yeah,
too, to
he
make
should
sure
be.
that he knows what's going on. And I don't want to have him not be at the meeting, so. He has a world of knowledge in his head there, and what should go on, probably more than maybe some of us, you know, so I know more than me, see, so. But I can count on him, you know, really backing us better.
Under upcoming agenda items, will we be bringing back the qubits agreement?
That'll be, I talked to the chief today, and that'll be in the next meeting.
So is that under executive session then?
Yep.
That will be.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Chief's back from Florida, he hasn't had
Right,
enough
That's what I
time to,
okay.
let's see, some council comments. There's no citizen comments.
No, I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to thank Harry and Michael for serving on this board and wish you guys luck on what you're off and doing. You'll be missed.
Yep.
Is this
There's
your-
always enough seats in the audience to, for you, Joe.
Shoot.
I wasn't listening, he was whispering.
There's also enough seats in the audience. So
Yeah, if not, what we
gentlemen
serve.
can attend and also assist if you would like in my ear. So, and any of the other council members, I'd be glad to hear from you.
I'd also like to say that Harry, it's been a pleasure with you on here. Michael, thank you very much for your service. I'm gonna miss you because I'm not gonna be able to aggravate anybody over here, but,
Well, you always could aggravate.
well, I know, but you sit down there now, so, you know, see that.
Your appearance are Lyle, you know.
That's right, yeah. But anyway, thank you. Gentlemen, you've done a world of good for the people of our village. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's been
Yes.
fun. You know, I've been on almost 6.5 years, and Harry, I don't know how long you've been on, but, you know, you learn a lot of good stuff being on a council here, a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. And I met some great people and made some new friends, and I do appreciate that, and thank you very much.
You know, you can put your name back in and be considered.
Yeah, no problem.
I got
Be
a honeydew
considered.
project.
I'll give you streets.
I think at the next meeting too, I have to talk to Jeff, because we had said in the public notice for anybody that's interested, we do have 2 open seats. Obviously, we're saying goodbye. We've only had 1 response. The public notice said, you know, that they could come to this meeting to, you know, to ask questions or whatever. Unfortunately, the one letter that I have, I did talk to her today, and she could not make tonight. It does not mean that she is not interested, it just means that she had a prior engagement that she could not break from. So please, if you're interested, I know we gave a deadline of April 20th, we will extend that since we only have 1 and we have 2 seats, so.
Can we just extend it to council's discretion?
We probably could. I
do
don't know
that.
that I'm gonna put another ad in the paper, I may. I'll put another, note on the website.
Just throw money away.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it
Have
is.
so
It's
many
on
things
channel
to
6, we'll leave it on there.
Yeah, put it on
Yes.
the channel.
Yeah, I think we did.
Give the option of a 5-member board.
I think with the projects we've got
I
going right
think
now,
we'll
I think
have-
we can have
We need 20
everything we've got. Yeah.
And we
Well-
can't have a 6-member board, right?
No.
So
No.
we can't
If you
appoint
buy
one
this
without.
Make a
Yeah, you
special
can.
case for him.
No,
Or
yeah,
make an even vote.
it makes sense. if
Yeah,
you-
but I don't know that you cannot, I don't know that you cannot not appoint. I don't think you can wait
Not
to
if-
appoint until we get another one.
I don't think we can appoint a 6-member board because it would make it an even vote.
I will, but if Michael just quit and Harry stayed on, we'd have a 6-member board or
He would
vice versa.
refuse his vote to last, wouldn't you?
Well,
Yeah.
maybe my vote could be the deciding vote too.
And I'm glad to check that out because
Yeah, please.
I've never heard that,
Yeah,
so.
because I didn't think we could just have an even number on the board.
Well, like I said, if just Michael
Well,
left and,
Right,
we
but we
had-
would appoint someone.
We had that situation
What
when I
if you didn't get
started
anybody?
20 years ago.
Okay.
There was a member on the board that I think I didn't meet for months
Mhm.
later because she couldn't attend the meetings and
Well, I just want to make sure, that's all. 'cause
we
I
only
didn't-
had 6.
Well, with the
Sure.
5-member board too, we would have to change, have a public hearing, everything else involved to change, the status too. So
not a good time.
it's not a good time
No.
to do this, with the projects that
No.
we have now, so, and, so to speak, what do we have, what, Joe, 5 almost
We have
at
5
hand now?
major projects right now.
At hand,
Yeah.
right, so, that's why I say in checking with that part, we'd have to have a public hearing and all kinds of other, stuff to go with it, so.
Well, it also went on Armada Times through Facebook that there was openings, so I mean, the word got out there, maybe something will come.
I hope
Somebody
so.
will think about it
It's a
more.
good, again, and I say this every meeting, it's a good opportunity to get involved on something without running, you know, I mean, you can be appointed to fill out a term. You know,
Right,
sometimes
the election
run-
process
Yeah,
intimidating.
yeah, well, it
Anyway.
is. So, I mean, if that interests you, it's a good time.
Mr. President, if we could back up to upcoming agenda items, I'd like to add one more thing.
You're gonna be my whole agenda.
I know it. Burke Street, we
Oh,
have
yeah,
to
it's
hear
good,
from,
an update on
yeah,
that.
they need that. Yeah, because I think that we're getting pretty close to that.
Scrap tire grant.
And that's from Road Incorporated, and so we'll have to have some.
Well, it'd be good if they can make it, because.
Yeah,
Okay,
if they can't, they can send us something that I
Yeah.
can read or would help out.
I'll give them a call.
Under council comments, I wanted to follow up with our canine program 2 Saturdays ago, and I'm not reporting from the police department. I was notified by internet or texting that my street was closed down for a police situation, and it happened right in front of my driveway. Had nothing to do with me, but the dogs were brought in. A dog, I don't know how many. I'm not reporting it as a police situation. I wasn't sure which one it was, but the dogs were utilized, or a dog, at least a dog, was utilized in a police situation 2 Saturdays ago. So it's good to see them out there, whichever one it was.
Wasn't that because you had a U of M flag flying?
Gretchen and Autos, right?
Gretchen.
Correct.
So they do use them. I don't know if one was on duty or called in. Again, I'm not trying to go that direction. I'm just
Right.
saying, it was utilized to search a vehicle.
Probably fun to watch.
I wasn't home.
Oh.
Nobody was home. I was getting texts about it. Of all the times, I'm home all the time. And not that I want a police situation, but you know, when something's in front of your house, you like
It's
to see
interesting.
it happen.
No, it is, it's
That is
interesting.
very good, interesting
Yeah.
information.
And it's great for the kids when they meet the dog, because now all of a sudden there's a bunch of kids here that want to be canine police officers. That's the new fad now, is they want to be canine.
Okay, any other council comments? If not, community events, any? We have the, that doesn't tell me. All right, I don't have any.
I'll make the motion to adjourn then.
Second.
Oh, let Michael do it.
Go ahead.
No, let Michael do it.
I'll second it.
Good point,
Moved
good.
by Mr. Audi and seconded by Mr. Stark.
7:48? Is that the time?
I have 7:47.
7:47? Okay.
Any further comments from the council? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried, meeting adjourned.